Hello and welcome to the Church Council update for St. Paul Lutheran Church and School for January 2021. There's a few topics we'd like to cover for today's update. One of them being the voters meeting coming up on January 24th, an office transition, a financial update, and then some ministry highlights to close it out. The first thing to talk about is the voters meeting. That's coming up on January 24th after the late service and starting around 11:45 a.m. And we'd like to cordially invite each and every one of you to attend that meeting, and we hope that you can find the time to be here. Some of the highlights of that meeting are going to be the election of officers and board chairmen. We have a slate of candidates that we will be discussing and voting upon to enter into the church council and various boards and committees. Another item that we'll be discussing is the new way in which our church council will be managing and administering itself, and that's with the new VTO organizational plan. And the VTO is something that stands for Vision, Traction, and Organization. The vision is actually our core values, and that's divided into 6-year goals. The traction part of our plan will be taking those 6-year goals and breaking them down into 1-year and even 3-month plans for accomplishment. So again, those are the highlights of the voters meeting coming up on January 24th, and we'd like to see all of you there if you can make it. The next thing on the update is our office transition. After 42 years of faithful service, Mrs. Terry Happel has announced her retirement. Her retirement will take place at the end of this school year, later this spring. It's hard to imagine that after 42 years, we won't have Terry behind the desk any longer. So we at the Church Council have been thinking about ways in which we can fill her role and her responsibilities. One of those roles is a more formal position called a financial coordinator. And that position has been organized and approved at the Church Council level and has actually been filled by a new member of our staff joining us on or around February 1st, and that's Mrs. Angie Chop. She will be our new financial coordinator, and we are very pleased to announce that she has taken this job opportunity. The Church Council has been studying all the responsibilities that Terry has had over these last 42 years and are taking a look at how we will fill that position, whether that will be with the church secretary and a school secretary, or if they're going to be one person combined. That has yet to be determined and is something that the school board as well as the hiring subcommittee of the council are taking a look at and will bring further recommendations then in the not too distant future. The next thing that we have is the financial highlights. On this slide, you can see the weekly giving averages for the past several months here at our congregation. You can see that we have a weekly need of about $30,500 and that our weekly averages are about $3,000 under that number. You can also see month by month where we have actually met or even exceeded our budgetary amounts, and those being the months of August, November, and December. Now we put these slides up here for you just as a reference, not to say that we are failing in any way, but just as a reference so that you can see where we as a congregation are in our offerings versus where our budget is. The next slide you'll see is the giving versus budget difference that we have in a trend line. You'll see 3 different lines there. The green line is from our budget and our actual offerings 2 years ago. The orange line is the offerings amount that we have had for last year. And then finally the large thick blue line is where we are this year. And again, this is for informational purposes only, but we are showing a difference right now of about $72,000 under what our budget was calling for in terms of offerings. Please keep in mind that this chart also is happening at the same time as our wish list being fully funded. Somewhere around $260,000 of all the wish list items have been funded by our congregation. So our pews are paid for. That's also taking into consideration the dedication weekend we had several months ago, where we brought over $45,000 in special offerings to the dedication weekend activities. So again, this trend line is showing something that is showing a difference in our budgeted offerings, but I think that at the council level, we're hopeful and prayerful that our normal giving will start to pick up again, and then we can start to meet our budget obligations as we go further into our final few months of our budget year. And then the final thing that we have are ministry highlights for our congregation. Since we've opened our sanctuary doors with this new building, we have had 19 baptisms right up here at in this church. We've had 26 confirmations. That's our graduating class from last year, plus the public school children that have been a part of our confirmation classes. We've had 4 weddings, and we've had 8 funerals. So all those different activities, along with all the special services, the Christmas services, the New Year's services, anything extra that we've had, there's a lot of activity in our new sanctuary, and it's something that we are very thankful for. And speaking of thankful, on a personal note, I come into this sanctuary and even to the church or to the office area sometimes on irregular basis, coming here at odd hours, and I walk in and I'm always amazed at how many people are parked in the parking lot or are here in church doing something, fixing something. The building of the sanctuary, how many people were here volunteering their time, landscaping, repairing Wi-Fi that doesn't work sometimes for our school, replacing light fixtures, putting up and taking down Christmas decorations, you name it, the list goes on and on and on. And it makes me so thankful that I can be a part of this congregation too. I'm humbled by the people that I serve with, and I'm humbled by the people that are sitting in the pews here every weekend or attending services online. It doesn't matter. I feel very blessed to be a part of this congregation, and I hope that we can continue to go forward as the Lord leads us and as the Lord presents opportunities for us to serve Him in His kingdom. Thank you and have a good day.